Joining me now are Duncan Levin, former prosecutor in the Manhattan DA's office, and Christy Greenberg, former federal prosecutor and an MSNBC legal analyst. Duncan, can you take me inside the sort of mind of Judge Merchan to the degree that you are able to professionally and sort of explain to those of us who don't understand the back and forth what a sentencing hearing is?
Sure. And
why Judge Merchan thinks that those proceedings could inadvertently intersect with the political proceedings of a November election?
Well, so a sentencing proceeding basically is the opportunity for the prosecution to make basically oral arguments, for the defense also, and for the defendant to get to talk, because throughout this whole trial, he had the right to testify, but he didn't. This is his moment to talk, and he gets to make a statement to the court and express remorse or not. And I don't think he will, but he's allowed to talk to the court.
Something tells you?
Something tells me. And so he's allowed to talk, and then the judge is going to pronounce sentence orally, and it's being done very formally in this case. Sometimes in state court it's not. But there are a lot of swirling things here going on for Judge Merchan, and I think that a lot of people have been saying this is a huge win for Trump, but I think it's anything but. It looks like the noose is tightening in a way, because if he loses the election, this makes it far more likely that he's going to get some kind of sentence with confinement on it. And I know I've been talking to you for the whole summer, sort of off stage, about the fact that I think that that's going to happen. But I think this makes it much more likely, because Judge Merchan's in a very difficult position to put him even in house arrest during the final stages of the election. Once the election's over, if he loses, if he wins the election, all bets are off.
Right.
If he loses the election, I think it makes it much more likely to do that. But there are also other appellate issues going on right now. And Mr. Trump has a 330-10 motion, which is a motion to set aside the verdict. There are appellate issues.
We're going to talk it, but just to clarify what you're saying here, you think Merchan is ready to hand down a sentence with some kind of confinement, either in home confinement or a jail cell, or some kind of sentencing that's severe enough that that's actually the reason he doesn't want to hand down the sentence before the November election?
It's hard to tell, and nobody knows, but I'm not willing to put money on it, but I'm willing to say
You're saying it on national television.
It's true. I'm willing to say the odds of it are going way up, because once the election's over, it makes it much easier for the judge to do it. And I think that this is a case that...
Assuming that Trump hasn't won the election.
Assuming Trump hasn't won the election. If he does, I think that it'll very likely get up to the Supreme Court and could get stayed. But if he loses the election, the prosecution is going to be asking for some kind of incarceration, home confinement, some split sentence with probation. I'm going to be very surprised if they don't. And this just makes it way easier for the judge to impose that kind of a sentence on him if it's taking place after the election.
Christy, the DA's office didn't fight to make a case that this hearing should not be postponed. And Judge Merchan sort of called them out about that. And you're more than called. Can you talk a little bit about the relationship between the prosecution and the judge and how this decision was made?
Yeah, so, I mean, generally speaking, a judge is not going to keep a sentencing date that both sides say they want moved. And so Trump says we want the delay, shocker. But then the Manhattan DA's office put in a submission that was curious. They said, we take no position, which it's your case as a prosecutor. You take positions on these kinds of things. They say we take no position, but then they basically say, oh, Trump's reasons here about why they want it delayed, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And, and then didn't really elaborate on the reasons why it wouldn't make sense. So, in effect, Judge Merchan in his order is calling them out and saying, you're really joining Trump's delay request.
Right.
You say
no
you're
argument
not.
Is basically a co-sign.
Yeah, you're co-signing this, and therefore, with both of you on that side, made his job a lot more harder. They kind of forced his hand here. So I'm not necessarily surprised he made this decision. I don't necessarily agree. I'm more in the Judge Chutkan camp of the election should not matter. Your case schedule is your case schedule. But again, I think if the Manhattan DA's office had opposed this delay request from Trump, I think Merchan would have kept it. Because remember, Judge Merchan knew about the SCOTUS decision. He knew about the election date. He knows they made this motion. And even after Trump made that motion to set aside the verdict based on immunity, he kept the schedule for September 18th and told the parties, you better be ready. Only now that both sides seem to be saying move it, did he change his mind.
Well, listen, it's so high stakes for everyone involved, right? And you got to think that, like, if you're the judge out on a limb here that's having to make a huge call, not just for this case, but for American history, and you're getting death threats, and your daughter's getting death threats, and your court clerks are getting death threats, and you're the subject of national ire on the right, like, you would assume you need the DA's office to at least back you up in terms of expediting this. So do you think that figured into his decision-making
here? I think you could see it in the tone of his decision. He was clearly upset that the DA's office was putting this all on him. And I understand why. They've been getting these death threats. They're scared. That's got to be part of it. But the amount of resources they have spent on this case, this is their case. They should be pushing for jail time, and they may say, look, don't impose the jail time until after the election. That's fine with us, but go ahead with the sentencing. That's on them, and they're basically dumping it on the judge and putting it all on him, and that's really not fair to him, and you could see it in his tone. He was clearly upset with that. What
do you make of the discrepancy, just completely opposite interpretations of how, at least publicly, about how much politics should factor into the decisions of the court, right? Yesterday, Chutkan's like, what election? Doesn't matter. This court does not see politics. And Merchan literally naming the election as a factor in delaying this sentencing hearing.
Yeah, look, I think Judge Merchan is saying the quiet part out loud. I think you see often that prosecutors, whether they say they do or not, at every stage, whether choosing to make investigative decision to open an investigation, whether choosing to charge certain individuals, even at sentencing, I mean, they're not living in a vacuum, right? Politics are out there. And so the question is, how much do you really let that affect your decision making? And Judge Chutkan, I think, again, is correct in saying it really shouldn't have an impact. The case is the case. You are a defendant. You are not. Your candidacy is your day job. That's how she put it. I think that is the right way to do it. But again, I think Judge Merchan kind of recognizing here that I agree with Duncan. I think the Manhattan DA's office will seek a jail sentence. I think that is appropriate under these facts. Again, Michael Cohen, who is not as culpable, went to jail for 3 years for the same thing. So I think they'll seek it. I think the judge is likely to impose it. And then, given the gravity of that,
they know they can't do that before the election.
Do you really think 41 days before, or it would even be less now, it's 41 days before the election, you impose that sentence and really look like you're tipping the scales? You're going to have both sides, either way, blaming both the judge and the prosecutors. Right. The left is going to come out and
let's be clear, though. The left is not threatening the lives of those involved in this case.
100%.
And one can imagine those calls, those death threats would only increase if Judge Merchan handed down a jail sentence for Donald Trump 3 weeks before the election.
Absolutely. That said, the only point I was going, and there's then not a both sides here. Yeah. Like one side is clearly doing unhinged people doing really scary things, credible death threats. On the other hand, if Trump were to win, I could see plenty of people second guessing, well, you allowed him to be a martyr. You made him a victim of political persecution. Was this really necessary for jail for something that, other prosecutors may not have brought? And so I could see that kind of happening too. I think both sides would blame. Again, one is scary and one is not. But do they really want to deal with that? I think that was at least a factor likely in the Manhattan DA's office decision to, go along with Trump's request.
Duncan, you mentioned that there's other outstanding business, and the timing of all this is really interesting. So I'm going to try and put this in the most elementary terms possible, because I myself got confused by this. The sentencing hearing has been delayed till November 26th. Trump's lawyers are trying to throw out the decision entirely based on the immunity decision from the Supreme Court, right? They're saying, forget this conviction. The guy has this conviction was based on evidence that would have been inadmissible based on the Supreme Court's ruling, right? Mm-hmm. And Merchan today said, we're going to delay the resolution of that business until November 12th. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the rationale for kicking the sentencing out. Mr. Trump's filed what's called a 330-10 motion, which is to set aside the jury verdict. The grounds for it is that the jury heard official acts evidence that they shouldn't have heard. The Supreme Court said, no, they can't convict based on that. And Judge Merchan needs to decide, was that called harmless error or not? And so if he says it's harmless error, the conviction stands. If he said, no, this actually made a significant difference, but for that information, he wouldn't have been convicted. That's a problem, and it could be a basis to set aside the jury verdict. And Mr. Trump's lawyers were saying, you're supposed to hand down the decision on that on September 16th, 2 days before the sentencing. We wouldn't even have time to appeal that before the sentence. By the way, this is politics also in this courtroom, because in any other case, the judge would say, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to still sentence you and appeal it after the sentence. And that's the thing is, so there's politics in both of these courtrooms going on right now. But I think that's part of the reason he wants to give a little bit more air between the decision on this motion to set aside the jury verdict and the sentencing, to give a little room to Mr. Trump's lawyers to appeal it so they couldn't complain.
Well, right. On one hand, it's a win for Trump's lawyers because they get more time to make their case or prepare it or whatever. But on the other hand, politically, Trump is still convicted of these crimes through the election, right? He doesn't get to say they overturned the case because the evidence was effectively, should never have been admitted. He's still a guy who's been convicted of 34 felony counts up until Election Day.
Right. And I think that is to the favor of, I'm sure, I can see a world where the Harris campaign is happy about this development, that they don't have to deal with the sentencing again. He doesn't get to say this is me being a victim and being politically persecuted. They can just focus on the campaign and on the debates and the political calendar going forward.
I don't know. I just feel this is just an extraordinary moment. And, this is really, truly, Duncan, terra incognito. And my heart goes out to all the people that are forced in such difficult, high-stakes, life-threatening positions that have to make decisions not just for themselves, but for American jurisprudence.
If you speak to any judge, they'll tell you the hardest part of their job is sentencing somebody, and it's probably hard in every case. You have to rip people away from their families. There's all sorts of collateral consequences to it. Putting anyone in prison, and we do a lot of that in this country, has got to be the hardest job that a judge can do, and this is got to be the hardest case for the hardest job for the hardest anything. And my heart goes out to him. This is a very difficult decision to make, and he's trying to be as fair as possible.